So often, wild animals are the casualties of our human existence. Killed for profit, their habitats under threat, made to live in cramped spaces, poorly fed. They're destined to live out their lives in misery unless someone takes action. Wild Animal Rescue follows the people from the international animal welfare charity Four Paws as they go on daring and sometimes dangerous rescue missions to give animals a better life. In this episode, we follow a 4-year mission to save 15 brown bears in Kosovo. Locked in small cages and used as attractions at small private zoos and even local restaurants, their future is bleak if Four Paws doesn't take action. And a Four Paws team goes to Romania to rescue Europe's last wild horses from the slaughterhouse. Four Paws have received information about bears being held in appalling conditions in Kosovo. Project leader Carsten Hertwig and Jette Lepaya have been sent to see if the condition of the bears warrants a rescue mission.
Also in aller Regel kommen sie aus der freien Wildbahn, werden als Bärenweise oder zumindest eben als Baby aus der Wildnis herausgeholt. Die Schicksale sind unterschiedlich. Teilweise eben ist die Mutter erschossen worden oder beim Verkehrsunfall ums Leben gekommen. Teilweise werden sie einfach auch der Mutter weggenommen.
Kosovo is still reeling from the effects of the Kosovo War at the end of last century. The war brought widespread destruction, claiming more than 10,000 lives. But the toll of war and its aftermath isn't just measured in human lives. Animals are usually the first to suffer. Brown bear populations in Europe have been decimated by war, hunting, and habitat loss. It's estimated there are 3,000 bears left in the Balkans. However, the illegal trade of animal parts means their future is uncertain. The bear Carsten is going to see has been used to attract people to dine at this restaurant. It's a common practice in this region.
Ja, Cassandra, Bärenweibchen, wir tippen so etwa 8 Jahre alt. Dürfte, seit sie Bärenweis und Bärenbaby ist, hier sein. Also sie hat eigentlich so den absolut schlechtesten Zustand.
Cassandra is a Eurasian brown bear. The very fact that she's awake suggests she's under a lot of stress. If she were in the wild, she would have gone into hibernation a month ago, and she wouldn't wake up for another 4. But the horrific conditions she's being kept in have totally upset her normal patterns of behavior.
Ja, das ist natürlich völlig inakzeptabel für eine Braunbärenhaltung. Das sind 2x3 Meter Käfig, mitten der Witterung ausgesetzt. Das heißt im Sommer viel Sonne, kaum Regen, im Winter jetzt eben die Kälte, der Wind.
Sadly, Cassandra is not the only brown bear in Kosovo suffering a miserable existence. Around 40 kilometers away lies the small town of Prizren. Carsten's been tipped off that there are 2 bears being kept here in very poor conditions. Again, there's a restaurant involved, but this time there's a small zoo attached. The bears are in a large cage, but it's nowhere near big enough for animals of their size.
Also die Bären leben hier katastrophal, nur Betonuntergrund, kein Wasser, kaum Schatten und unglaublich gestresst. Und vor allem deswegen, weil unter ihnen sind kleine Zwinger mit Wölfen und Hunden und die machen einen unglaublichen Lärm. Also jedes Mal, wenn ich hier war, haben die Hunde einen unglaublichen Lärm gemacht und die Bären waren unglaublich gestresst.
These 2 are called Ari and Arina, and like Cassandra, they've been caught by animal traders when they were young and sold to the restaurant owner. To stem the bear trade in Kosovo and step into line with other countries, a law was passed in 2010, making it illegal to keep bears privately. But with nowhere to place confiscated animals, it hasn't been properly enforced.
Papiermäßig ist alles auf EU-Standard, mehr oder weniger. Implementierung ist ein anderes Problem und das ist, was wir jetzt versuchen auch hinzukriegen.
Returning the bears to the wild is sadly not an option. Being too used to people, they would be easy prey for animal traders. So the Kosovan Ministry of Environment have come up with a solution involving Four Paws.
Wir haben von der Stadt Pristina jetzt eine Fläche zur Verfügung gestellt bekommen von 15 Hektar. Wir werden im Zuge der nächsten Jahre große Sektoren bauen, mindestens 3000, besser 5000 Quadratmeter pro Jahr.
Good news and also bad, because Cassandra, Ari and Irina will have to stay where they are until at least some of the sanctuary is built. The big worry is how long Cassandra can survive in her present state. For each of the last 3 years, Four Paws veterinarian Ovidiu Rosu has spent 6 months looking after wild horses in northeastern Romania. Someone fitted a rope halter to this horse when it was a foal in an effort to tame it. Now it needs to be removed because as a horse grows larger, the halter can bite into the flesh and cause serious injury. It's one of approximately 500 wild horses living in the Danube Delta, the last wild horses to be found in Europe. These animals can be traced back to the 13th century, when the Tartars of Mongolia invaded this region, bringing their horses with them. Over the centuries, they were farmed for meat and used as working horses. Some also became wild, establishing a population here in the Letia forest, which lies in the northeastern part of Romania's Danube Delta. The Danube is Europe's second longest river, and over the last 6,000 years, sediment has been building up at its mouth to form the Danube Delta, Europe's second largest wetland area. Declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site and Romania's oldest natural reserve, it's rich in bird and marine life and hosts some rare species of plants. When horse farming ceased in 1989, many of the horses were freed, and the wild population grew to 1,500 by 2010. Environmentalists were concerned the growing number of horses would impact on the delicate natural balance of the ecosystem, so Romanian authorities decided to take action.
The horses were the scapegoats for ruining this highly protected forest. And the authorities thought that the easiest solution would be to cull, to shoot these horses.
Four Paws vigorously opposed the idea of culling and proposed an alternative, a birth control vaccine which, over time, would reverse the population growth without harming any animals.
This vaccine goes to the eggs, makes it some sort of a shield, like a cover, so that the sperm will not enter through it. It doesn't affect the behavior of the animals, it doesn't affect any social status of the animal inside the group.
The first dose of the vaccine needs to be given orally, which means Ovidiu has to tranquilize the animal. No easy task with these fast and flighty creatures free to roam the almost 3,000 hectares of reserve. The vaccine works on the egg, so is only given to the mares.
First of all, we have to identify which is female.
Each herd of wild horses typically has a lead stallion and a lead mare, whose roles are to protect the group. The lead mare travels at the front, and the stallion pushes from behind.
Oh, perfect shot.
It's a quite powerful dosage, otherwise we cannot have them fast tranquilized.
A quick tranquilization is important because of the risk posed by the lead stallion. As the mare begins to react to the anesthesia, he can become concerned about her behavior and try to keep her moving.
If they take too long to sleep, the mares might be kicked by the males.
Sometimes it's near impossible to get the horses to lie down.
They have this passive stability system that actually allows them to somehow sleep while standing. So that's why it takes a little bit of time.
This mare has remained standing for too long. Ovidio has no choice but to administer a second dose of anesthesia.
How many minutes has it been?
Quite
7?
a lot.
Okay.
No, more than
More, okay.
Yeah.
Well, she's a strong one, huh?
Coming up, has Ovidio's second dart brought the mare down in time? And the first wave of bear rescues in Kosovo sweeps into play. Four Paws has come to Kosovo to rescue up to 15 bears being held captive in atrocious conditions. Carsten has rescued the first 3, Cassandra, Ari and Irina. But the rescue was delayed until stage 1 of the new bear sanctuary in Kosovo is finished. It's now ready, so the first rescue can happen. They start with the bear in most urgent need, Cassandra.
Me presion muni me mor. Ariun me qef nuk e jo. Qyren, unë nuk. Jo njeri probleme. Po vesh nuk është në rregull po thom, se unë po thom, e kurit vogël dhe nuk ka shumë.
But Cassandra's owner can't understand why she's being taken and fails to see what's wrong with her current condition. To ensure there's no trouble, the team are backed up by police and the Kosovo force, the NATO-backed peacekeepers. In order to safely transport Cassandra to the sanctuary, the team must first tranquilize her. The metal crook keeps Cassandra's head down. She may be weak and malnourished, but she's still considerably bigger and stronger than her would-be saviors. Safely inside a purpose-built travel crate, it takes 6 strong men to move her to the waiting vehicle. Cassandra has the honor of being the first resident of the new Pristina Bear Sanctuary. She'll stay in this interior treatment cage while work continues on her outside enclosure. This will enable her to regain her health and adjust to her new surroundings. Now the Four Paws team move on to the zoo in Shquiponia to rescue Ari and Irina. Again, the Four Paws team come with police and military support, but this time the media have been alerted by the bears' owners. It appears they're not happy about losing the prime attraction at their restaurant/zoo.
Sie sind überhaupt nicht einsichtig. Also sie haben auch vor laufender Kamera immer wieder betont, dass die Haltung super und toll ist und so weiter. Also sie sind überhaupt nicht einsichtig.
Wir können nur einfach sehen auf den Bären, obwohl sind, weil überall, auch in Europa, müssen die Eisen da sein. Nur einfach können wir gucken, die Bären, und sehen wir ganz genau, dass sie leben sehr wohl.
The bears' owners have called in friends and associates in an effort to intimidate the Four Paws team. Worried the situation could get out of hand, the team decide they need to act now. They tranquilize both of the bears at the same time. Once they're sedated, they have to get them into transport crates before the drug wears off. While the sedation is going smoothly, other elements are conspiring to make this a challenging rescue. The owners have stopped the Four Paws vehicles from entering the property.
Das ist für uns natürlich eine Herausforderung mehr, weil die auch überhaupt nicht logistisch mit dem Inhaber der Bären kooperieren können. Er ist nicht stur, wir müssen lange Wege jetzt mit den Transportboxen nachher gehen, weil wir nicht auf den Hof fahren können, lauter solche Sachen.
It doesn't help that the cages are up so high. They must gently lower several hundred kilos of brown bear down to ground level, into the transport crates, and then the long haul out to the waiting vehicle. It all goes according to plan. the Four Paws team are elated at having completed 2 successful bear rescues.
Es ist ein großer Schritt für den Tierschutz im Kosovo, der heute gerade passiert ist. Und der Weg ist beschritten und wir gehen diesen Weg entlang. Wir werden alle Bären hier im Kosovo, die jetzt privat gehalten werden, rauskriegen aus den Käfigen. Wir werden in eine neue Zukunft gehen können.
But their joy is short-lived with the news that 2 other restaurant bears intended for rescue have been killed. Faced with his bears being confiscated, the owner sold them to an animal dealer for €500. The police found their dead bodies dumped amongst garbage, their organs harvested for the lucrative Asian market.
Das macht jetzt die Situation so dringend und wir wollen eben jetzt komplett alle Bären, die noch in Restaurants hier im Kosovo dahin vegetieren, jetzt retten.
With 2 dead, can they rescue the remaining bears in time? On the Danube Delta in Romania, veterinarian Ovidiu Rosu and project leader Robert Hengel are carrying out a population control program on the last herd of wild horses to be found in Europe. A contraceptive vaccine must be given to each mare, but for that to happen, they have to be sedated. Ovidiu has already shot 1 tranquilizer at this mare. She's unsteady on her feet, but refuses to go down. There's a risk the stallion may start kicking her to get her moving, so Ovidiu fires a 2nd tranquilizer.
Just doesn't want to go down.
Yeah, it's quite often this happens.
Finally, after nearly 30 minutes. While the mare is sedated, Ovidiu and Robert need to record her statistics and perform health checks, but they're being closely watched.
That's a real man, a real stallion.
It's common for wild horses to have one partner they spend the most time with.
Careful, careful.
Yeah, I'm here.
Estimates based on aerial surveys put the number of remaining horses at approximately 500. In the past 3 years, Ovidiu has treated about half of them.
Our aim is not to actually kill the population down, is to manage it responsibly.
This population control program by Four Paws was sparked by the so-called Letia massacre scandal in 2011.
The locals were basically rounding up loads of horses to sell them to the slaughterhouse.
Following claims that the wild horse population was growing too fast and destroying the environment, Romanian authorities gave landowners in the village of Letia permission to round up some of the wild horses. More than 70 horses were corralled together into several small pens.
These beautiful, wild, free-living horses were crowded up with no food and no water.
Belonging to different herds, the horses fought each other, leading to severe injuries. After a week in the pens, the horses were sent to be slaughtered.
They rounded up the horses into a double-decker slaughterhouse truck, and they pushed in too many horses.
A couple of them, they were dead already, squashed together and, kicked by the other animals.
Fortunately, Four Paws prevented the truck reaching its destination.
Only after 30 hours, our team was able to stop this transport. And overnight, we became owners of more than 50 horses.
The horses were brought to a farm where they received food, water, and medical care.
We managed in the end to save about 45 horses in total. And after 3 months of quarantine and treatments, we were able to bring them back in Leta.
Some of those horses are still alive and being monitored by Ovidiu and Robert.
Wow, look at that.
Next, Robert has to perform a task he's not at all happy about.
Oh boy. Oh man.
And in Kosovo, there's the final big push to rescue all of the remaining restaurant bears. The news that 2 of the Kosovo bears have been sold and slaughtered for their body parts has put pressure on the Four Paws team to rescue the remaining 8 bears. They decide to rescue all 8 within 24 hours. At the restaurant in western Kosovo, the team find 2 bears, Arusha and Balusha. The smaller Balusha is in a terrible state.
Das sind 2 Männchen, die gehören immer zusammengesperrt. Dem einen fehlt ein Auge, das ist ausgekratzt. Das zweite Auge ist auch blind, vermutlich auch eine Verletzung, eine Infektion. Die Zähne sind von dem einen Bären sehr kaputt und er hat sehr viele Narben, vermutlich von Kämpfen.
Bears are mostly solitary creatures in the wild, so it's little wonder they clash when they're forced to share a cramped space. The rescue goes smoothly. As soon as they're sedated, the veterinary team start giving Balusha the medical care she so desperately needs. The next restaurant bear is 20 kilometers away, a 15-month-old female bought from hunters.
Da haben wir 3 Leute hier angefahren, also die wissen ja, dass ich viele Tiere hier habe und fragten mich, ob ich einen Bär haben will. Die haben ihn anscheinend irgendwo gefangen, hier in unseren Wäldern, mit ihren Jagdhunden. Und habe ja gesagt, ja, warum nicht?
Then he discovered laws were being introduced to make it illegal for bears to be kept in private zoos.
Ich hatte vorhin, also es nicht auf so kleine Käfig zu lassen, also schon einen größeren Park zu machen hier. Aber da ich mitbekommen habe, dass es nicht mehr geht, dann habe ich halt diese Investition weggelassen.
Being seen as a bad investment has meant she hasn't been properly cared for.
Er ist unterentwickelt, er ist sehr ausgetrocknet. Wir haben ihm jetzt einen Tropf gegeben. Die Zähne sind sehr schlecht, muss man schauen. Aber die Narkose lief erstmal soweit ganz gut, er liegt stabil, dass wir ihn jetzt verladen können.
That's 2 rescues completed safely. The last one promises to be the most difficult of all. 5 fully grown bears, all held in one enclosure.
Also wir können die nicht separieren. Ja, es gibt keine richtige Absperrmöglichkeit jeweils. Das ist einfach nicht möglich hier. Und von dem her bleibt uns aus Sicherheitsgründen überhaupt nichts anderes übrig, als 5 Bären gleichzeitig zu narkotisieren. Das ist natürlich auch wirklich für das Ärzteteam eine Herausforderung.
If the bears become agitated, it'll be difficult to dart them. So the vets keep noise and activity to a minimum. There are 5 vets, 1 for each bear, to ensure the operation runs safely and quickly. Initial medical checks would normally be carried out inside the enclosure, but not today. It's too dangerous, because with so many bears, there's a chance one of them might wake up. Checks outside the cage reveal they're carrying numerous injuries, probably caused by fighting.
Ja, das ist eben eine Bisswunde, die wir jetzt auch noch extern behandeln, um die antibakteriell zu reinigen.
Weighing more than 200 kilos, the bears are difficult to move into the crates. Eventually, the team load the last captive bear in Kosovo into the van. The most difficult phase of the rescue mission is over. Now it's just a matter of giving them time to settle in at the sanctuary. After years of living in confined conditions, it can be a big shock to be suddenly surrounded by large areas of open space. For that reason, they're first released into smaller enclosures. It's a special moment for the rescue team.
Hierher zu bringen, ihnen jetzt dieses Gehege sozusagen zu übergeben und ihnen die Zukunft hier zu ermöglichen, das ist einfach ein wunderschönes Gefühl.
"700 kilometers away in the Danube Delta, Robert is having a not-so-wonderful moment with a sedated mare. She's been given the contraceptive vaccine, but the medical check requires they obtain a fecal sample.
Usually there's some reaction that some feces comes out, but in this case none came out, so I'll have to put my hand in the anus, and but obviously I will put some paraffin so it goes in easily, and then I can get out some feces. So it's very exciting. Okay, here goes. Oh boy.
I'm sure you can do it, Robert.
And I just go in with my whole hand if there's nothing.
Yeah, just maybe we can take this.
Okay.
Robert isn't a trained vet. He's a desk jockey and administrator with Four Paws, so he's really entering uncharted territory here.
Oh boy. Oh man, this is... I never studied
For this.
for this. I didn't do veterinary. Is this enough?
No, you go more.
You serious?
Yeah, go.
We'll go more?
Yeah,
I had my whole hand in
Let
there.
me show something really interesting.
Yeah?
Open your hand. Oh, you lost it. You just had a really big worm. Oh, look at it.
I had a worm?
This is a
Oh,
whip
that's
worm.
horrible.
And what?
And
It is not going to attack you. If you are disgusted, I will do it.
No, I'm not disgusted. I just don't want to go in all the way.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, but I've got my watch and everything, man. I
Take
can't.
it off.
Oh my God. Take it off. Okay. Oh boy. Oh man. I feel kind of weird doing this.
I will ask you to take care of this.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay, this is how you do it properly.
Oh, actually, she already defecated.
Yeah, not very. There's nothing in there.
But nevertheless, quite a lot of worms. Yeah. Yeah, but it's enough. This is enough.
This is also the perfect opportunity to get a blood sample from the horse.
This is to do studies on the reproductive level of the animal. So actually, if she is pregnant in this moment or if she is not. To be able to do this thing, we have to take the serum out of the blood.
That requires specialist equipment, which Ovidiu carries in his vehicle. The centrifuge will spin the test tube at high speed, separating out the blood serum, which can then be sent to the lab for testing.
Okay, we will send it to Vienna to be tested for the levels of progesterone and estrogen. Those are the main hormones from which you can know if the animal is pregnant or not.
The sedative has worn off. The whole tranquilizing process and checkup has taken just over 90 minutes. And the mare is none the wiser about the indignity of having both Robert and Ovidiu probe her for a fecal sample. Next, the Pristina sanctuary bears have a date with the dentist. The Pristina Bear Sanctuary in Kosovo has now been operating for 2 years, providing a home for brown bears rescued from cruel, inhumane conditions. Open to the public, visitors can experience the bears in an environment close to their natural habitat. And they're starting to behave like bears living in the wild.
Even though we prepared the dance for them, they had their own. They did their own dance and they hibernated. And they hibernated for 3 months.
The 13 restaurant bears that were first rescued are clearly much happier in the sanctuary. But many still suffer long-lasting effects from their previous lives and need to receive ongoing medical and dental treatment.
I'm a human dentist, but in my free time I do some bigger patients.
Dr. Luce and his wife Sabine are volunteers who make several trips a year to treat bears at a number of sanctuaries across Europe. Leading the medical team is wildlife veterinarian Johanna Payner.
We don't work together that often, but like 3 times a year about for a long weekend. Yeah, we have bear holiday together.
Treatments range from basic fillings to root canals and extractions. And how does a 300-kilogram brown bear feel about a dental appointment?
I think it's sometimes a bit frustrating for a wildlife veterinarian when you try to do your best to keep your patients healthy, but every time you doubt them, of course, they hate you.
The first patient today is 16-year-old Ero. He was the largest of the 5 bears rescued from the final restaurant.
He weighs about 300 kilograms. He's by far the biggest of all.
Johanna prepares for the anesthesia based upon estimated measurements.
For wildlife anesthesia, it's always a bit challenging to prepare it out because many things can go wrong, of course. We don't have a pre-anesthetic health check on the bear, so we cannot go there and see and check the blood values before we dart them. And then, of course, you can hit it at the wrong place. You aim for the big muscles in the shoulder, but what if he moves in like the second where you dart? Then you dart it into the lung, and that could be deathly.
The anesthesia should take around 10 minutes to work, but Johanna wants to be absolutely certain Ero's fully unconscious before allowing anyone to enter the cage.
How many kilograms you say?
3.
I say 340.
Okay, mit der 325.
It's important Johanna gets an accurate weight. That way she knows how much of each drug is needed.
How much?
Means 325. Sauber.
Ero's legs are tied down to stop them flopping around during the procedure. If he were to wake, however, the ropes would do little to restrain him.
Ich schon losmachen, wenn ihr wollt.
So we have a cavity in the tooth because of a broken tip. And here the same, the canine tooth severely broken and with a cavity here.
Broken teeth are common amongst captive bears. They bite on the bars of their enclosures, and under the load of their extremely powerful jaws, something has to give.
So now I give here some local anesthesia, and then we will perform a root canal treatment. The tooth has to be treated because the pulpa is chronically infected. This causes maybe pain and osteolysis. That means that the bone starts to be destroyed.
Really big tooth, huh?
Huge. While the root canal procedure is similar to that performed on a human, working on bears can create some tricky problems.
Haben wir da noch längeres? Kann sein, dass wir länger brauchen.
Das ist das Einzige, was wir haben. Wir haben das natürlich.
The difficulty is that the tooth is so extremely long.
So now he's already in anesthesia for more than 1 hour. So we top up the anesthesia every so now and then, according to all these parameters.
While Dr. Loos works, Johanna and Julia give Ero a full health check. Hair samples are taken to measure cortisone levels, which gives an indication of how much stress the bears endure. They'll be compared to samples taken when they were first rescued to find out how well the bears are rehabilitating in the sanctuary.
The blood gases are all fine, like even after now he's almost 3 hours down. He has perfect values. Perfect. It's really nice.
Okay. Smooth and perfect. Good.
With the root canal finished, Johanna can bring Ero back around.
I'm drawing up the antidote so he can wake up faster, but I only give it when we are in.
The procedure has been a success. Any cavities and decay have been fixed, and the tests show Ero is in good health.
Super, very good. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you to you. Special thanks.
Around half an hour later, a slightly groggy Ero returns to his outside enclosure. Coming up, 3 very young additions to the Pristina Bear Sanctuary. And Four Paws working to win over the locals in the Danube Delta. Winter on the Danube Delta sees temperatures plummet to minus 20 degrees Celsius and even lower. The wild horses eat tree bark, roots, and whatever they can find. But it's hard going, and a significant number don't survive the winter. In the winter of 2010 and 2011, before the Four Paws program began, locals say 50% of the herd died. Now, Four Paws provide food to help the horses through the winter. No matter what the weather is like, Ovidiu has the unenviable job of distributing the hay. He's also tasked with rebuilding a good relationship with the locals. The Four Paws intervention in 2011, which prevented the slaughter of 55 wild horses, came at a cost.
Everybody was blaming the locals for being very, very brutal with those animals, and when we returned back with them, we didn't have them on our side. They were very, very, how to put, not violent in itself, but very against us. You know, they were really didn't like.
Aggressive
they were
towards us.
they were aggressive towards us.
It's taken some time for Ovidiu and his team to earn back the trust of the locals. One of the ways they've done it is by offering veterinary services, treating their livestock and pets.
He was run over by a car and his spine was injured, and that's why he cannot run anymore, but they didn't want to leave him because he's a very good dog. And now we are trying now to put him on a wheelchair.
Hi, Rick.
In the beginning, people were reluctant. They didn't know exactly what we are doing. The concept of animal welfare was quite strange towards them. But now I think they understood that what we are doing. Let's see if he goes.
He has to practice, but n-am vrut să renunț la el, nu. Că toată lumea spune, domnule, omorâți-l. Cum să-l omor dacă el mi-a slujit casa? 7 ani mi-a slujit.
Very nice story because.
Cum să renunț la el?
Another reason the locals have warmed to the presence of Four Paws is the financial spin-off of having a protected herd of wild horses in a spectacular setting.
In the last 4 years, there was a very big development from the touristic point of view. So actually, now the locals gain a lot of money because people came to see the forest and the horses.
With more and more locals starting to see the benefits arising from the work Ovidiu and his team are doing on the Danube Delta, certainty is given to the future of these wonderful animals, Europe's last wild horses. It's 2 years since the Kosovo restaurant bears were rescued and moved to the Pristina sanctuary, and they're thriving.
90% bears are vegetarians, so they eat fruit and vegetable.
Everything
and 10%.
that they can find in nature.
With these small holes, we usually use small pieces of food that contains a lot of protein, like dog pellets and sunflower seeds. And our bears really like it a lot.
With lunch served, the treasure hunt can begin. Doing it this way keeps the bears stimulated and encourages them to use their natural instinct for foraging. Since those first 11 restaurant bears came here, there have been another 5 bears rescued.
In this enclosure here, we have 3 little cubs that we rescued last year. When we rescued them, they were only 2 months old, and they were quite weak, actually.
Kosovan authorities became aware of them after a family posted photos on Facebook of the tiny 3-week-old Emma living in their flat. A few days later, her brothers Ron and Oscar were found nearby. All three were undernourished and stressed. Normally, wild bear cubs spend at least 2 years with their mother, so they needed round-the-clock care. 5 months later, with the cubs in good health, the Pristina team tried something they'd never done before. With the cubs still being young, there was a chance they could survive in the wild.
Today we're moving them to Shari National Park because we've built a large enclosure for them away from people so that they can spend the next year or so getting used to being in their natural environment.
They were left alone to forage for their own food, with frequent checks to see how they were getting on. Unfortunately, the project ended after 2 months, following several encounters with people traveling in the national park. The cubs weren't wary enough around humans, and that would pose problems as they grew older and were released. Today they share an enclosure at the sanctuary and will eventually be moved to a new, larger enclosure. Oscar is next in line for a checkup with the vets and dentist.
Here is a milk dentition. Maybe the tooth would fall out. Can you close the mouth, please, dear patient? No, I don't think that will fall out.
No.
Yes, we have to take it out. One baby tooth we have to extract here. The time of changing of the teeth is over for him. And the baby tooth would stay there and would harm him.
So, wie gehst du da jetzt ran? Aber das ist extrem hohl innen, glaube ich. Nur, dass du Bescheid weißt, wegen Frakturen so.
Ja, das weiß ich.
So he extracted the remaining milk tooth.
Here, this is destroyed from the permanent tooth. Now we clean the wound a little bit, you see.
Keeping a close eye on proceedings is Mustafa, who has a special relationship with Oscar.
After they got confiscated, Mustafa was there day and night for many months. And the reason why they are alive is because Mustafa was working day and night. He's kind of Papa Bear. Good, so everything went well. He became a really proper bear. He's still very small, but compared to last year, it's of course really nice to see him.
But there's one more thing to do before Oscar is taken back to the enclosure.
We should make a picture with Mustafa and Oscar. Come, Mustafa, go with Oscar. You and Oscar, your baby. Yeah.
It's only through the work and love of Pristina staff like Mustafa, the skills and dedication of the medical and dental teams, and the support of Four Paws that bears like Cassandra, Arrow and Oscar are able to live out their days with a good quality of life. And more importantly, all of that effort is helping change the way the people of Kosovo view an animal that for so long was simply a sideshow attraction.
This is Dr. Neil Burney. He lives in Bermuda, a stunning Atlantic island 640 miles east of North Carolina, USA.
So now
He spent the last 30 years practicing veterinary medicine, but now he's transferring his veterinary skills to help save, protect, and learn more about the incredible marine life of Bermuda's ocean.
This is a completely wild shot.
Alongside his dedicated ocean vet team are a number of scientists, marine biologists,
Off the back fin.
and specialist master divers, helping to perform a number of unique and dangerous procedures in a bid to safeguard critically important marine species. Together, the team will be fitting satellite tags to huge tiger sharks, saving precious green turtles, dissecting giant blue marlin, and obtaining unique toxin samples from 45-ton migrating humpback whales.
Yay!
My knees are like jello.
Yes, man.
This is Bermuda, home to Dr. Neil Burney, the ocean vet. The spotted eagle ray is one of the most strikingly beautiful marine animals, covered in a spotted pattern that is unique to each and every ray. In Bermuda, these rays are heavily protected, but throughout some of the rest of the world, it's a different story. Now categorized as near threatened, the future survival of this species is uncertain.
Straight into the outside, so in this position is perfect. Yeah. Oxygen on.
In this episode, Neil and his ocean vet crew patrol Bermuda's beautiful inshore waters on a scientific mission to protect the spotted eagle ray.
I can handle a probe if you wish.
Utilizing his extensive veterinary skills, Neil and his ocean vet team will perform a number of unique procedures to collect vitally important data from these beautiful marine animals.
So we'll give this to you and you can slide this under him.
By employing tried and tested capture methods alongside some of the very latest technology, Neil and his crew's skill will be tested to the limit as they attempt to corral and capture these rays in some of Bermuda's most idyllic surroundings.
You never know what you're going to find here in the Bermuda Triangle.
To assist him on this testing mission, Neil has assembled his ocean vet crew at the Bermuda Aquarium dock.
This weather, this day, epic. We're going to get 3 or 4 rays today, for sure. Okay.
As always, Neil is assisted by series marine biologist Choi Aming, underwater cameraman Andrew Kirkpatrick, boat pilot Dylan Ward, and support rib pilot Oscar Doyce. The team are also joined by spotted eagle ray scientist Dr. Matt Ajamian, ultrasonographer Lottie Reining, aerial drone pilot Johnny Singleton, and Chris Fluck from Bermuda Conservation Services. Their combined experience and expertise is essential to the success of Neil and his crew's mission.
So about 4 or 5 years ago, Dr. Matt Ajamian carried out his PhD work on Bermuda's spotted eagle rays. He answered a lot of the questions about their feeding behavior and their local migratory movements. However, 2 key questions remain unanswered. 1, does our population of eagle rays differ from those found in the Gulf of Mexico? And secondly, do any of our rays undergo long-term migrations from the Bermuda platform? This year, we're going to take a lot of DNA samples from some of these fish, and also we're going to attach archival satellite tags, and that way, hopefully, we can answer long-term migratory movement questions on these fish.
Exact tag that we're putting on a lot of...
By attaching satellite tags and collecting DNA samples, Neil and his team can determine if these rays migrate off-island and how their genetic identity compares with other ray populations.
So these rays that we're seeing here, this is about an average-sized female.
Combined with Matt's previous data, this will prove if this species is totally endemic to Bermuda. This would be a scientific breakthrough. If Bermuda's spotted eagle rays are proved to be endemic, then the conservation data on these protected rays can be used as a benchmark for unprotected populations, helping to establish an effective conservation strategy to protect this species all over the world.
All right, so the first thing we need to do is get a ray. So what we're going to do is head out in this boat using this jack net, put it in the water, encircle the ray, put it on the boat, and then transport it back here to the aquarium where we're going to take our samples and attach our satellite tag. Now, rays are very powerful and potentially dangerous. So the first thing we're going to do is put it into this anesthesia bath here.
So here's our pool set up. We've got oxygenated water in here, and we're going to use clove oil to anesthetize our fish. Matt, why are we choosing clove oil for our anesthetic?
Well, Neil, clove oil is a naturally occurring anesthetic, and it has a variety of uses, but really is effective on marine fishes, and should put these rays under in a comfortable level so we can do all of our procedures.
Excellent, and it's a naturally occurring material, so we have no problems with disposal that you do with some of the synthetic anesthetic agents. Let's go catch an eagle ray. Let's do it.
Matt's research proved that Harrington Sound is an eagle ray hotspot. This large body of inland water provided over 50 sightings during Matt's study. These rays were often observed cruising the perimeter of the Sound or gliding across the shallow bays of some of its beautiful islands.
So we're here at a fantastic location on the backside of Trunk Island here in Harrington Sound. This is a great location to try and find eagle rays because this sand bed here is full of calico clams, one of their preferred foods. Hopefully we'll find 2 or 3 in here.
Once sighted, encircling these rays with a capture net requires a great deal of skill and experience. These fish are fast, unpredictable, and highly maneuverable.
So we found our first eagle ray. It's up here on the shallow sand flats right behind the island.
We're gonna dig. Look, I want you to come like up here somewhere. Okay?
Very exciting. Okay. So we're deploying the net. We've come right in against the shoreline. We're deploying the net, and we're going to try and capture this ray.
Just guide it.
All right, cool.
So we can see our ray. He's about 20 yards off the bow of the boat, and he's heading towards the corner where we put the net to start with. This is going perfectly at the moment.
Lottie's gonna jump in the water just to kind of give the ray a bit of a scare towards the net, because sometimes they go one way or the other. So we like to have a swimmer in there, just to have a body there, and it kind of scares the ray in one direction, and that ensures us being able to net it.
Lottie also has the crucial task of closing off any gaps at the bottom of the net. Even the smallest hole can be an escape route for one of these rays. At the surface, Oscar and Matt have the challenging task of trying to maneuver the heavy net around this ray without it escaping.
See if you can scare him into the bay, Oscar. Just do your best.
This is like cat and mouse with an eagle ray, highly mobile and actually highly intelligent. They have one of the biggest brain sizes per body mass of any fish. And this guy is trying to outwit us right here, right now.
But not to be outmaneuvered by this ray, Neil deploys the rest of his team to close off any escape routes. This is a crucial moment. One slip now, and his team could lose this ray for good.
So the eagle ray is right here in front of us, heading towards Chris. Our job right now is to keep him corralled as we gradually get this net smaller and smaller so we can capture this ray.
The reason we brought the camera is because the eagle rays actually have a spotted pattern on the back, and it's actually a unique spot pattern on every ray. So if we get a good photo of it, it's like a fingerprint. So what Matt's gonna do is he's gonna keep them, and basically we can catalog all the rays so we can identify each individual ray by its pattern.
So we'll give this to you, and you can slide this under him.
Neil and his team must be extremely careful working close to this animal. These rays are equipped with several venomous barbs located at the base of their tails. If one of these barbs were to puncture a vital organ, the effects could be fatal.
Okay.
All right, you guys got that?
Right,
Do you have that right now?
Huh? Yeah.
I have it. You got the tape?
I'm good. Yeah, tape's right here. Right. Do you wanna?
So we have our ray safely in the boat. I'm gonna get the tape, and we're gonna tape its barbs. These are the very dangerous 5 to 6 inch long venomous barbs, and sadly made most famous by the death of the late Steve Irwin, who took a 6 inch long stingray barb through the heart. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen to any of us. We're going to tape these barbs up close to his tail, get out of the danger.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Our priorities are taping up the barbs and getting water into his gills. So I'm holding the mouth open. Matt has just put water in the gills, so he's got flow over the gills. You can see water coming out there. He's in good shape. We're just going to put a towel over his eyes just so he can't see what's going on, to keep his stress level low. Okay.
You can actually see this guy.
With the ray now secure and stabilized, Neil is satisfied it can be safely transported back to the Bermuda Aquarium.
So we're running full speed, and Matt is checking the flow, and the water is flowing over his gills. And we're almost at the aquarium. We're almost there. This guy has become one of the Ocean Vet research crew. He's being honored to be allowed to wear the shirt.
Very nice.
Good job, everybody.
Yeah.
What a wicked team.
Coming up, Neil and his team sample and release the captured spotted eagle ray. Neil and Choi respond to a call reporting an injured ray. And Neil and his crew have a fight on their hands to capture their second ray and complete their mission to help protect this amazing species. Back in the action, Neil and his team have successfully transported their captured ray back to the Bermuda Aquarium for sampling.
Straight into the anesthetic solution in this position is perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Oxygen on.
Yeah, okay, we'll turn it on now.
So our ray is in his anesthetic solution. He's in the clove oil. He's gradually going to get a little sedated, we hope, and then we're going to go ahead. We're going to get a blood sample. We're going to get a DNA clip, and we're going to attach our archival satellite tag.
To minimize unnecessary stress to this animal, Neil is keen to complete the procedures as quickly as possible.
All right, thanks, Matt. So this is our archival pop-off tag, and we're going to implant this. It's going to release after 6 months. It's going to come to the surface and deploy and upload all the information about this ray's movements during those 6 months. We're going to put this right through the muscular tissue either side of the vertebra of this fish's tail.
That's right. And it's going to go right through, just like so. And as it gets pushed through, this tube is going to go with it.
And as you can see, this ray is not bothered by this procedure. The clove oil's working brilliantly. So now I'm going to plant the tube on this side, correct? Right here. This is very similar to some of the procedures we use when we're doing our small animal practice, particularly when I'm doing fracture repairs in small cats or dogs. We thread a wire under the jaw in exactly the same way.
Beautiful.
So we have a smooth connection from our swivel, from our tag, to our swivel, to our fish, to our ray, I should say, and we're good to go. This is going to trail behind him and offer minimal drag as he swims through the water column.
With the health of this ray also a key focus, Neil, Choi, and Matt take some vital blood samples.
So Matt, why are we going to draw this blood sample from this ray?
This blood's going to actually give us a little insight into the physiology of these animals, how healthy they are, what types of toxins are actually in them as well.
And we can also use some of this tissue that we're going to draw from our clip to get DNA analysis, right, and compare this with other populations.
Yes, sir.
This DNA sample will be sent to scientists in California and compared with other ray populations to determine if Bermuda's rays are indeed genetically unique.
Good, okay, we're good.
All right, let's get
so let's move this ray.
With the welfare of this ray Neil's top priority, he's keen to begin reviving the animal as soon as possible.
It's starting to come out a little bit, which is good.
Okay, all right, so we've got the ray moved into our recovery bath. We've got our oxygenation stone in. Choi is actually running fresh water directly over his gills. We're going to get rid of all that clove oil anesthetic from this fish, wake him up, get him weighed, and get him back into the ocean.
Yeah, there he goes.
Yeah, I can feel it. It's like almost like a little tongue sticking out, licking my hand.
With all of their procedures taking just over 10 minutes, Neil has ensured the stress to this ray has been kept to a minimum.
Okay, we're going to lift him onto the frame.
And with the clove oil solution now purged from this ray, Neil is confident the animal is strong enough to be released.
So, you want to grab the back end? Got to grab the back end. Okay, let's get him off.
So I'm just bringing him off. And as we can see, I can assess his spherical movement. And we're going to wait until we have some movement of his fins. And once we do, we're going to see he's already starting to move. So we're now in a position to release the vet wrap from his tail, leave his barbs free. Just for the audience above here who are looking down, this is what we do not want to get caught by. So this one, these venomous barbs are what we were trying to avoid earlier, but now as we release this fish, we can leave him with his protection in case he comes into contact with something that he needs to protect himself from in the future.
In Bermuda, this animal faces threats from large marine predators such as tigers, sharks, and even hammerheads. But in other oceans, these animals are also hunted by bull sharks and blacktips.
I think he's getting ready to go. So are you ready, Choi?
Yeah, whenever you guys release, I'll just follow him just to ensure that he looks good and swims away healthy.
There he goes, and he's gliding down as we watch him. Yeah. Perfect. So that's our first eagle ray tagged and released. We've got a few more to go, but it's looking very good so far.
Neil and his team will have to wait and see if the DNA samples and satellite tag data corroborate Matt's theory that Bermuda's eagle rays are endemic to the island. But it's not just strategies like this that help ensure this animal's survival. At the Bermuda Aquarium, their team of scientists also respond to reports of injured marine animals. When a call comes in about an injured spotted eagle ray, Neil and his ocean vet crew are the first to respond.
So we've received a call from a resident of Harrington Sound, just up here. He's seen an injured eagle ray in front of his property. It looks like it's got a laceration to the wing and some abrasions, and it's circling in the same place all the time, so it doesn't look well. We're going to see if we can assess it in the water, and if we think it needs to be captured to help treat it, that's what we're going to do. Oh, hang on, he's right in front of us.
So you got a spot on it?
He's right in front of us. He's right here.
Yeah.
Looky, he's 20 yards off the stern of the boat.
Right there, right?
And he's heading out right now. So we can see the laceration on the left side of the wing, and it's about a third of the way in from the tip. But the ray is adapting to it and is swimming pretty strongly right now.
It's incredible considering it's almost the wing is actually cut and basically it's kind of flat like a chunk, like tilting like that, but she still managed to swim fine. So it just shows the resiliency of these animals.
I won't say it's cosmetic, but I don't think it's life-threatening. And so I think the stress of us bringing her in already a stressed animal and further stressing it, I think would not be the best call. So that's the call. For now, we're not going to net this ray and we're going to leave her be, but we're going to monitor her. That's exactly what we should do.
Back at the dock, Neil and his team are keen to go in search of a second ray, but there's a problem.
So unfortunately, we've developed an oil leak on one of our engines, which has basically stopped us from using this boat. So we've transferred the net out and we're going to go with the aquarium boat called the Chevron. Fluggy, what do you think?
Things happen, we just go with the punches, man.
Got to roll with it, man. Got to roll with it, keep smiling. Gonna go hunt for an eagle ray, just using a different boat.
With time slipping away, this could be their final chance.
So we've just seen a ray coming along the edge of this shoreline over here to behind me. We're gonna park the net on this promontory here, and we're gonna reverse back and try and encircle this ray in the bay. We've got the helicopter up over the net. We're gonna see if he can spot him.
Neil and his team face a much sterner challenge this time. The overall visibility is poor, and the lead lining at the bottom of the net is entangled on the seabed.
So I'm going to go and try and be another hand on the lead line, try and get it freed up so we can get around this ray.
Neil's drone has zeroed in on the ray's location, and the team now face the challenging task of trying to free the net without letting the ray escape.
4 feet off the bottom.
All right, come on this side and tend the hole then.
I'm trying to. There's a 4-foot hole under the ray.
All right, if you don't tend that hole.
As the team begins to think they might lose this ray, Neil and Andrew Kirkpatrick spot it, making a break for a gap in the net.
My ray identification skills are good. It is a female.
With the ray now located and the net freed from the bottom, Neil and the team can maneuver it into a safe position for capture.
The ray is right down in here. We're just about to pinch everything off and lift her out of the water. It is a girl, exactly what we've been looking for.
The fact this ray is a female is hugely significant. It means that Neil can ultrasound this ray to see if it is carrying pups. Data on this animal's reproductive cycle is extremely rare and would be a significant addition to the other data they've collected.
So we're on the run, heading as fast as we can back to the aquarium dock. We have the ray comfortably covered, eyes are covered. The water, watch this water flowing out of these spiracles. Beautiful, it means she's being well oxygenated by the water from the barrel at the back.
Back at the aquarium, Neil and his team's priority is to anesthetize the animal as quickly as possible.
So we're bringing the ray straight up and into the anesthetic. Beautiful.
Turn the oxygen on, turn the oxygen on.
There we go.
Although at first the ray appears distressed, by temporarily covering its eyes and allowing the clove oil to take effect, the animal is soon calm and fully anesthetized.
So we're going to bring Lottie Reining from Dolphin Quest in, who's our ultrasonographer, and she's going to let us see whether there are any immature rays inside this adult ray. So Lottie, what do you think?
Let's see.
Exciting
Let's
stuff.
go have a look.
All right. So we'll slide her a little bit forward so that you can reach. She seems really comfortable in this anesthetic solution. I'm just going to move the camera out of the way a little bit. So what we're looking for is movement within the coelomic or body cavity. If there are any small rays, they'll be rather like little wrapped up tacos, folded up on themselves. And there can be up to 2 or 3, correct?
Up to 4, actually.
Up to 4.
Yeah.
Female rays will mature from between 4 and 6 years old and give birth to live pups after 1 year of pregnancy. This ray is quite small for a pregnant female, and so it's possible she's not yet carrying pups.
So I'm seeing no evidence of juvenile rays within this adult female, so I think we're free to go ahead and put our tags in this fish, do our DNA clips, and take our blood samples. Okay, I lost the vacuum on that one.
Although this ray will not provide any reproductive data for Neil and his team, she can still provide important migratory data via her satellite tag and crucial DNA samples for genetic analysis.
There we go. She's gonna start to swim. Here she goes.
The release of this spotted eagle ray concludes a scientific journey that has seen Neil and his team pushed to their absolute limits. Capturing these rays has not been easy, but working together, the team has succeeded.
Fantastic. To see that fish swim away strongly into the current of Flats Inlet, just beautiful. These fish deserve our attention and our respect and understanding. If this population can continue to thrive in Bermuda, they can be ambassadors for the ocean.
Good job, buddy.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Since the filming of this program, the satellite tracking data has confirmed that these animals make no long-range migrations, but the DNA samples are a match to other eagle ray populations. The team's evidence suggests that millions of years ago, Bermuda must have been more accessible to this species. As the Earth's surface changed, so did the position of Bermuda. The result is a unique and precious population that moved with the island. The future of this species is bright, but one slip could see these glorious creatures disappear from these waters forever.
Beautiful. The spotted eagle ray. Long may they reign. Woo.
Next time on Ocean Vet, Neil and his team enter the world of the tiger shark. They'll be tested to the limit as they try to install a satellite tagging computer to an 800-pound monster shark. And Neil and his team swim with these animals to see if there's any truth behind their reputation as ferocious man-eaters.
So often, wild animals are the casualties of our human existence. Killed for profit. Their habitats under threat. Made to live in cramped spaces, poorly fed. They're destined to live out their lives in misery unless someone takes action. Wild Animal Rescue follows the people from the international animal welfare charity Four Paws as they go on daring and sometimes dangerous rescue missions to give animals a better life. In this episode, we follow Four Paws' efforts to give captive lions a better life.
It was clear that this can't last for long because the situation was deteriorating really visible.
How do these conditions affect the animals, and what's being done to return them to health?
Well, she and he is a hermaphrodite. Inbreeding is the most common cause of hermaphrodites.
And a shocking yet legal industry that's threatening South Africa's lions.
We're breeding very beautiful animals like battery chickens.
This rescue mission centers on 5 lions living in depressing conditions in the town of Baia Mare in Romania. For the last 2 years, they've been kept in these enclosures. A few hundred square meters of concrete floors and walls and steel bars. Little bigger than a suburban apartment. And for the majority of that time, their only human contact has been with veterinarian Dr. Adin Miklaus. He knows their history ever since they first came to Baia Mare.
Și au fost aduși în anul 2002 în Baia Mare. Vârsta aproximativă 2 ani, dar nici și aceasta este relativă pentru că pe certificat scria 2 ani. Eu cred că sunt un pic mai în vârstă.
Those age estimates apply to the 3 older lions, Petrica, Lavinia and Lydia. They're siblings and originally performed as part of the Romanian state circus. But in 2002, the male, Petrica, attacked their trainer and they were no longer wanted. At that point, Dr. Miklaus brought them to the Baia Mare City Zoo.
Inițial am fi vrut numai 2, dar fiind 3 și noi având spațiu, au fost aduse la Baia Mare.
Baia Mare is a small city of approximately 130,000 people in the northwest of Romania. Its zoo was one of 36 in the country. But when Romania became part of the European Union in 2007, that all changed.
At that point, a lot of legislation has to be put in place. And one of the pieces of legislation that was necessary for Romania to implement was the Zoo Directive.
That directive specified certain minimum standards that all zoos had to meet if they were to continue to operate, with one of the most important standards being the welfare of the animals. Like so many zoos in Romania, Baia Mare did not come up to scratch.
Deci grădina zoologică a fost construită în 1950 și cuștile au fost foarte mici. Neavând autorizație de mediu, neavând spațiu propriu pentru animale.
Located in the old part of Baia Mare, the zoo had no more space it could access, and the local council had limited funds to work with.
There were different attempts to buy more land or to find other solutions, but at the end, of course, with no budget and of not being the biggest priority of the city, that was the decision of the council to close the zoo.
The EU legislation states that when a zoo has to close, the animals should be relocated to other institutions which meet the standards. If that isn't an option, then the animals should be euthanized. That was the situation Dr. Miklaus and his colleagues faced back in 2013.
Am încercat toate animalele care au fost, mă rog, vreo 22 de specii, au fost date la instituții autorizate, conform legii, cu spații conforme, cu așa. Leii n-am reușit să-i relocăm pentru că nu i-a dorit nimeni. Așa s-a ajuns la înființarea acestui compromis.
And it truly was a compromise. The council was sympathetic to the plight of the lions and allocated them vacant buildings and yards, with a plant nursery on one side and a rubbish dump on the other. Their new quarters consisted of 2 dark indoor cages and a small outside area where they could exercise. While the lions had been saved from being put down, they'd ended up in even worse conditions than were at the zoo.
Deci la grădina zoologică totuși avea un spațiu cam cel puțin de 3-4 ori mai mare decât aici.
The closure of the zoo also meant they no longer had access to regular veterinary care or good quality food. The council continued to provide a small budget for meat, but no other funding. So all the care, the daily feeding, the cleaning of the enclosure, that has all been done by Dr. Miklaus.
Nu, de 2 ani de zile nu pot să plec, pentru că cu 2 ani de zile numai s-o desfința grădina zoologică, iar colegii au plecat în altă parte.
Dr. Miklaus began searching for a new home for his lions, and that's when he got in touch with Four Paws.
When the call for rescuing them came to us, we visited them and it was clear that this can't last for long because the situation was deteriorating really visible from a week to another, and especially the winters were very hard there because it was very wet, it was very dark and very cold, and as they are not very young, the parents are 15 years old, this has a very big impact and is deteriorating very fast the condition of the animal.
At Four Paws headquarters in Austria, the staff were assigned the complex task of organizing the transport of 5 lions across international borders. Their destination, the Lions Rock Sanctuary in South Africa. Now the rescue mission is about to start. Dr. Miklaus has been given instructions as how to best prepare the lions for their journey.
În mod normal consumă carne de cal, dar acum, având în vedere că mâine vor urma să fie tranquilizați, am optat pentru niște plămâni, niște organe, ca să fie o mâncare mai ușoară, mai slim.
Having cared for them for so long, Dr. Miklaus has become attuned to subtle changes in their health, their moods, and their eating habits.
Petrica nu e interesat. Este mai slab un pic acum, are o perioadă întotdeauna, în perioada spre iarnă, parcă slăbea un pic. Nu-mi dau seama, probabil și vârsta, dar nici nu este interesat de mâncare, deci...
The 5 lions are split into 2 groups. Petrica and his mate Lavinia live as a pair, and their offspring, Marine and Tahon, keep company with 15-year-old Lydia, the sibling of the parents. This division began back in Biamare Zoo, when Marine and Tahon were born in 2003. At that time, there was a risk Petrica, the father, would attack the small cubs. Having 2 groups in such a small facility has made it difficult for Dr. Miklaus to manage them, particularly when it comes to recreation. The larger space outside provides an area for exercise, fresh air and natural light, but they can't all occupy it at the same time.
Deci erau făcuți cu rândul, încercam să-i țin pe ăia o săptămână înăuntru pe ăștia, să le dădeam drumul consecutiv afară, deci intrau și ieșeau pe rând.
The father, Petrica, has a preference for being outside, and that makes him reluctant to go inside for food.
Dar duce el la mâncare, dar se teme că îl închid iară. În momentul în care mă duc acolo, el va intra. În momentul în care vin acolo, el iese afară să uită la mine. De obicei, de aia, întotdeauna la felinele mari, lucrează 2 oameni. No, dar acum, cum n-am avut, e destul de greu să mergi acolo, să vii aici.
These kinds of issues won't be a problem when they move to their new home in South Africa.
Mă bucur că vor ajunge într-un loc propriu. Parecum m-am și atașat de ei. Dar, în mod cert, trebuie să ajungă acolo unde le este locul.
Over 8,000 kilometers away at Lions Rock in South Africa, the Biamare 5 will be joining many lions and other types of big cats, rescued from Romania and neighboring European countries. Those feline refugees were very much the driving force behind establishing the sanctuary in 2006.
So it was clear that there is a huge need, and Four Paws decided that if we will create a sanctuary, that it should be in a country or on a continent where the lions are actually coming from and where the habitat and the climate is according to what they need and where they normally would live.
Unfortunately, being in an appropriate environment doesn't cure the animals of all the sickness and infirmities they previously had. Many of them require ongoing care and treatment. Today, there are a series of operations scheduled, and veterinarian Dr. Peter Caldwell is anesthetizing the first lion. As coincidence would have it, the first patient of the day is a former Romanian lion called Akira. Rescued from a Romanian zoo in 2008, she has a large abscess on the underside of her jaw, which needs medical attention. It's obviously causing her pain and to be ill-tempered. Treating Akira is Dr. Gerard Steenkamp, one of only a few dentists specializing in the treatment of wild animals.
Because their teeth are so long, infection has gone in where the tooth is fractured, and you can actually see the abscess is burst out under the chin there.
Dr. Steenkamp has his suspicions as to what's caused the tooth to fracture.
If you look at the canines, you can see there's healthy enamel, and then it stops there, and the tips don't have enamel on them. So there's obviously something in the development of these teeth that went wrong. And so there was a weak spot there, and in the lower jaw that tooth just snapped.
Many of the rescued big cats arrive at Lions Rock with damaged teeth. The cause is often linked to them being taken away from their mothers at an early age, and their subsequent diet not providing them with many key trace elements.
Calcium and those minerals which are needed to grow bone and cartilages and teeth are mostly not enough given to them when they are growing. And that means then when they are getting older that those bones and teeth are not strong enough and that they break easier.
Before the abscess can be treated, the dental team need to perform a root canal on Akira's fractured tooth. Holes drilled in the base and tip allow them to remove most of the infected tissue. The remaining decaying tissue is flushed out through the abscess that has appeared under her jaw. To complete the procedure, Dr. Steenkamp will have to drill away some of the bone around the abscess and then plug the hole from both sides.
This is the cement that we put into the canal. By now there shouldn't be any bacteria left there, but if there is, it will help to kill them.
While many of Dr. Steenkamp's instruments are common dentist tools, some had to be custom made to enable him to work with the extremely long teeth found in big cats.
Suturing it closed, and then it should be woken up.
Okay, let's pick her up. Let's go.
Left untreated, an infection like this would probably have been fatal, especially in the wild, where lions suffering from serious tooth problems die slowly of starvation because they can't properly chew the game they catch. Thanks to the dental team, the worst Akira will suffer is some discomfort as her wound heals. Next, the rescue of the Baia Mare lions finally gets underway.
Have a nice journey.
The day has finally arrived. The 5 lions of Baia Mare are about to leave Romania and the cramped enclosures that have been their home since the town zoo closed in 2013. A large contingent of local and international media have turned up. Four Paws has sent a team of specialists from Romania and Germany, experts in transporting large, dangerous predators.
We will have a look at the facilities and then want to have a talk to the veterinarian who took care about the lions over the last 15 years. So and then we discuss in our team how to proceed.
Even before the examinations are done, it's very obvious to the team that Dr. Miklaus has done all he can to look after the lions, despite a lack of resources and funding.
They're well cared for. They've been treated with respect by the veterinarian who saved their lives.
Saved their lives and made them a big part of his life. It will be hard for Dr. Miklaus to see them go.
Sentimentele sunt împărțite, mă bucur. În primul rând mă bucur că am reușit să-i relocăm. Asta încercăm de cel puțin mai mult, de 2 ani și ceva.
Each lion will be tranquilized. Then medical assessments will be performed to ensure he or she is in fit condition to go into a purpose-built travel crate and make the long trip to South Africa.
There will be a detailed inspection of the teeth, of their eyes, of the bones. So there will be really a lot of parameters that are going to be checked.
Marine is up first. He's one of the 2 offspring of Patrika and Lavinia.
Also very skinny. So the darling outside, it's better, but the only thing which is not good, if he is going to sleep in the middle.
Dr. Goeritz is worried that after being darted, Marine could fall asleep in the middle of the cage. If this happens, then it becomes very difficult to tell whether he's properly tranquilized, and that makes it potentially dangerous for someone to enter the cage. Fortunately, Marine falls asleep in the back corner of the cage, within easy reach.
There are very sensitive areas, the ear, the nose, the tail tip, so to check how his ear is running.
Before commencing the health checks, they move Marine closer to the cage entrance to ensure a quick getaway if he wakes up.
Put it with the head there. That when he is getting good. Okay, now we can all the checkups, temperature.
It's common for captive lions to have a number of health issues, usually caused by poor diet, lack of exercise, and not enough exposure to sunlight.
He's a little bit skinny, definitely got the wrong diet. The really black feces, it's a lot of liver and heart, and so it's...
The inadequate diet over the last few years and all the hard metallic surfaces in the enclosure make it very likely his teeth have been damaged.
It's abnormal use here. Occlusion. No, it's not occlusion. That's
it's not occlusion.
This is
metal bars.
Metal bars.
The metal bars.
But in general, teeth looks not too bad.
With the checks complete, the team load Marine into the travel crate. Once inside, the vets will give him an antidote to help him come around from the anesthesia.
Marine is first loaded. It's great. He's now calm, so I hope that he will not give any alarm signals to the other ones, because he knows what was going on. So hopefully he doesn't tell them, hey guys, watch out. There's a guy here with a gun, so hopefully. But he will sleep now, he will get the antidote, we will close the doors, and he will be the first ready to go.
Have a nice journey.
Back at Lions Rock, the operations are continuing, but this one isn't a dental operation. Wildlife veterinarian Dr. Peter Caldwell is dealing with the unusual case of Fiona, a 9-year-old lioness who doesn't look like a lioness.
Well, she and he is a hermaphrodite. She's got an overdeveloped clitoris in her vulva region, which is a very good sign that she is a hermaphrodite. And she's got 2 scrotal sacs without any testes in, and she tends to want to mate with other lions. So we're going to go and see what kind of sex organs she's got and then remove them, because if there is a uterus in there, it's a potential for an infection.
Having both sex organs in the one lion is unusual but not unheard of. Typically, it's caused by a lack of genetic diversity in the breeding population, resulting in closely related animals mating with one another.
Congenital genetics, yeah. Inbreeding is the most common cause of hermaphrodites in the lion population.
These kind of genetic abnormalities are rife at breeding farms. Fiona was rescued from one of these places, as were a number of lions here at Lions Rock. Ironically, before Four Paws bought this property, the land was used to farm lions.
It was a game farm and a breeding farm for game and as well as for lions mainly. He also had cub betting, he had young lions here at the lodge.
Lions Rock may have been turned into a sanctuary, but there are many places where lions are still being bred. Some estimates suggest that there are 7,000 lions being raised in captivity in South Africa.
We're breeding very beautiful, very intelligent, very long-lived social animals like battery chickens.
You see a lot of these breeding facilities, specifically in this country. The conditions that these animals are raised are so poor, unhygienic, and the people that do it are totally oblivious of any veterinary and medical and health aspects of these animals.
The purpose of all these breeding farms is to provide lions for South Africa's hunting industry and also the lion blood and bone industry.
In order to provide a constant supply of living targets, the hunting industry has had to turn to captive breeding.
Lions living in the wild are rare now, and not many countries allow them to be shot. To shoot one costs upward of $100,000 and entails a trip to somewhere like Tanzania.
It's much cheaper to fly out to South Africa and have a lion ready-made to be shot.
Shooting a lion bred in captivity costs around $50,000, and it's anything but a fair contest. Typically, the lion is released into a small area, and being accustomed to humans makes it an easy target.
the target animal is unfairly restrained from escaping the hunter, either by physical constraints such as fencing or by mental constraints such as being habituated and bottle-fed and raised by humans.
Shooting captive lions is called canned hunting. It's legal in South Africa. It generates a lot of money, and it relies on the existence of the lion farms.
I feel that that is unethical. It is something that is cruel. I think the lions do know and realize it, and they have feelings as well. And I'm totally against it from a personal point of view, and I feel there's no need for it, and I feel that the revenue generated for something like that is not nearly enough to justify what actually happens with these animals. I've seen enough to be totally against it.
Fiona's sexual abnormalities are no doubt a result of lion breeding for the canned hunting industry. So operating on her is one way for Dr. Caldwell to express his opposition to those practices. Genetic issues aside, Fiona also has a large tumour on one of her nipples that needs urgent attention. This could be a long and potentially dangerous operation.
Most likely a melanoma. That's a highly malignant tumour, but it could just be granulation tissue as well from lying on the stomach and it rubbing, and chronic irritation can cause melanomas and basal cell carcinomas and all sorts of types of cancer, or neoplastic type of cancer.
What does the tumour mean for Fiona? That's next on Wild Animal Rescue. At Lions Rock, Dr. Peter Caldwell is performing surgery on Fiona. She has a serious cancerous tumour which has to be removed. But first, he wants to investigate her sexual organs. She's an hermaphrodite, meaning she has the sex organs of both female and male lions.
There is a male organ in there.
Dr. Caldwell intends to spay Fiona, which entails removing her uterus and other sexual organs.
I'm tying off the uterus and the ovary. Everything's not where it should be.
It turns out the spaying is the easy part of the surgery. As he explores further inside Fiona's abdomen, he discovers a network of blood vessels where there shouldn't be any.
So this is a situation here.
Tracking exactly where the blood vessels go requires a much larger incision than normally happens for a spay.
Initially I didn't make it wide enough, that's why I didn't see that blood vessel supplying this growth here. And it was branching off the blood vessel that goes to the uterus, which is most unusual. It's actually the first time I've seen that.
The blood vessel is connected to the nipple that has become a tumour. Normally a spay would take around half an hour, but Fiona has now been in surgery for almost 2 hours.
She's not relaxed enough, eh?
Throughout the operation, Nurse Angelique manages the anesthesia. It's a constant balancing act, making sure Fiona is relaxed, but not so deeply sedated that her vital functions slow down too much.
She's breathing a bit faster, yeah. I'm not unhappy with it. We're still all right, I think.
Dr. Caldwell has managed to isolate and tie off the problem blood vessels. Simply removing the tumour, but not the blood vessels, would have increased the chance of new cancers growing.
We explored the whole abdomen and found 2 branching blood vessels on either side to this growth here that I'm going to remove now. So the surgery is not done yet.
Dr. Caldwell uses a cauterizing tool to cut around the tumour.
I tend to like to use this, especially if there's cancer involved, because you don't want any excessive bleeding and spread of the cancer. The recovery time is going to be a lot longer. She's going to sleep a while. Eh?
It's been a big operation. Fiona remains an unusual lion, but everything has been done to give her the chance of living a longer and healthier life.
If this was anyone else or any other facility, they would have opted for euthanasia. Most people don't want to spend money on things that don't look like lions.
This amount of care and work is typical of what happens at Lions Rock, attempting to right some of the wrongs these animals have endured. On the other side of the world, the Four Paws team is busy preparing Lions Rock's next arrivals. 5 lions from the failed zoo in the Romanian city of Baia Mare. 12-year-old Tahon is the next to be sedated and examined.
So the general condition of him is a little bit better than the first one. The claws are okay. We have a look on the teeth. He was a little bit fat in the past. He lost a little bit of weight, but the skin is still there.
And what we can do?
Surgery. Now I guess if he gets some exercise, really good diet, then he will improve.
Tahon is one of the lucky ones. Many of the animals rescued by Four Paws suffer from long-term medical complaints caused by the conditions they were kept in. With a proper diet and the space to roam at Lions Rock, Tahon should return to good health within a few months. To coincide with the rescue and promote awareness around the plight of lions in captivity, Four Paws is putting on a street theatre performance in the centre of Baia Mare.
We gather here today to say goodbye to the 5 lions. So they will go to Africa, where they belong for real. And we try to emphasize this in order to show to the people the life in cage of this animal.
Sadly, Romania is a hotspot for animals being kept in inhumane conditions. Over 1/3 of the big cats at Lions Rock come from this country.
They don't know how the grass smells. They don't know how to walk on the ground because they were staying on the concrete cages, and they don't know how the African sky looks like. They don't know how to hunt. They don't know how to be a real lion,
Four Paws stages events like this to change the way people think about animals in captivity. If they can get the public on board, then they have a better chance of persuading local politicians to tighten the laws around animals in zoos and circuses. The ultimate aim is for Four Paws to not have to step in and rescue Romanian animals. Next, the Baia Mare lions finally depart their cramped cages and concrete floors for the grass and open spaces of Africa. In the town of Baia Mare in Romania, 5 lions are being prepared for transport to Lions Rock Sanctuary in South Africa. Lydia, the female with an eye injury, is next to be anesthetized. She's one of the 3 older lions. They grew up in the Romanian state circus and spent 15 years in captivity.
Let's look on the eyes. So the lens is loose and there's fibrin inside.
If you shake it, what happens? It actually moves inside.
It moves, yeah. So the cornea is not clear anymore, so the vision is not very good. She hardly can see on the side.
There's no evidence of physical damage to the surface of the eye, so Dr. Goeritz suspects it could be related to her environment and living conditions.
It doesn't look like a trauma from outside, because the cornea is not too bad, but it could be a stump trauma, jumping, whatever, or it could be also related to alimentation. So we have to check the blood for diabetes and all this stuff.
Dr. Goeritz can't treat the eye any further here, but the team will arrange for Lydia to have surgery at Lions Rock once they receive the blood results and have identified what the problem is.
Can you check the thyroid parameters and check for diabetes?
Lydia and the 2 younger males are in their crates and loaded into the transport van. Just the parents, Petrika and Lavinia, remain. Aged around 15 years, they're not excessively old for captive lions. However, their hard lives in Romania, especially in recent years, means they're not in good health.
So this guy needs a longer infusion.
Petrika looks very thin and weak. The small budget keeper Dr. Miklaus had for food resulted in the lions being fed offal and cheap cuts of meat.
Most likely he got severe kidney problems already. So we really have to do severe blood check then.
Kidney problems are common in captive big cats that haven't received proper nourishment or exercise.
And also they have here got a little bit ulcer here already. Ulcer is a sign that the urea is increased, and urea does increase when the kidneys doesn't work properly. But the blood work will tell us more.
Last to be treated is the mother lion, Lavinia. Her teeth are in a terrible state.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she need major work. This most likely has to be removed, the right upper one, and this need root canal work. So both root canals are open, all three actually, but this has to be removed.
Lavinia's fractured teeth and exposed roots are most certainly causing her pain. She will need extensive dental treatment once she's settled in at Lions Rock. All of the lions are now loaded into their transport crates. Ahead of them lies a very long trip, 1,500 kilometers by road to Frankfurt Airport in Germany, followed by a 10-hour flight to South Africa. All up, they'll spend over 30 hours in transit. Their water will be regularly topped up on the journey.
So we are finished earlier than we suspect. So everything went smooth, that's a good thing. No excitement, everything went smooth, that's good.
Dr. Miklaus won't be traveling with the lions. He's afraid of flying, so this is the final goodbye. They've been a big part of his life for the last 13 years. 11 spent looking after them at the zoo, and then another 2 on his own here at the makeshift premises. It's a bittersweet moment, knowing he won't see his friends again, but able to feel satisfied that they will spend the rest of their lives in relative comfort. Dr. Miklaus's work with lions is finally over. The Baia Mare lions aren't the only Romanian big cats to make the long trip to the Four Paws Sanctuary in South Africa. Veterinarian Dr. Peter Caldwell has a number of tigers on his patient list that also come from Romania. This adult female is called Lena.
Check that lower canine, that side, and this side as well. The bottom 2 canines for sure, hey? Now this is going to be long. It's going to be 3 hours. When we got to her, I evaluated her. We definitely know that she needed potentially 2 root canals. She looked quite good, and I put a dart in a cocktail of drugs that I normally use. Very conservative on the dosages and so on, because she's a smaller tiger.
Lena's dental problems arise from an upbringing very similar to the Baia Mare lions, if not worse. She was one of 10 big cats at the Ornești Zoo in Romania, which was shut down in 2007 when it failed to meet European Union standards. With nowhere else to go, the animals spent another 6 long years locked away, with no improvement in living conditions.
Die Tiere werden vom Zoo finanziell unterstützt oder ja, auch gepflegt von den Pflegern. Aber man sieht, dass in den letzten Jahren einfach kein Geld da reingesteckt worden ist. Man muss sich einfach die Großkatzen, die Raubkatzen anschauen. Denen geht es unter diesen Bedingungen sehr schlecht und ich fühle total mit.
When Four Paws was alerted to the plight of Lena and the other cats, they began planning a rescue. Finally, in 2013, all 10 animals made the long trip to a new life at Lions Rock. Now that Lena has settled into her new home, it's time to fix some of the more serious health problems resulting from her previous life.
She went down really nice, she fell asleep well, her breathing was really good. It took about 6 minutes for her to fall asleep, which is on average normally how long it takes. Although I did get an impression that she fell asleep a little bit quicker than what it was normal.
Tigers are the most dangerous of the big cats to work with, so Peter takes extra care when entering the enclosure. But as he gets close to Lena, he quickly notices that she's not responding well to the anesthetic.
Yeah, let's get her on this side. She's good. There you go. I don't like this.
She's thirsty.
Yeah, she initially just stopped breathing, and we ensured that she had a good airway, and then we started giving her respiratory stimulants intravenously, and then she went into cardiac arrest and her heart had stopped.
Can I do compressions?
Yeah, you can do compressions.
Next, can the medical team save Lena? And the Bayamare lions finally arrive in South Africa. Lena the tiger has reacted badly to anesthesia and has gone into cardiac arrest.
And you haven't liked this, eh?
Dr. Caldwell and Nurse Angelique are desperately trying to keep her alive.
Can I do compressions?
Yeah, you can do compressions. Angelique started CPR and I started implementing chemical CPR where I injected adrenaline intravenously to get the heart to start functioning. And then I injected other drugs to stimulate breathing. I immediately gave the reversal of the sedative. We got her breathing, we got her heart back, and it was probably about 4 or 5 minutes when she started blinking and started showing us nice response.
This is potentially a very dangerous situation for Dr. Caldwell. He must get Lena into a stable condition without being mauled in the process.
When last was this tiger immobilized?
Before she came, we didn't do her since she's here.
We need to do some blood work on her and see what's going on there. If you dart her with Zolota on her own, she's going to die, because there's no reversal there.
It's not unusual for tigers to experience cardiovascular complications while anesthetized. But this does mean Lena's dental procedures will have to wait.
Yeah, so we're going to give her at least 6 months to recover from this before we try anything like that. She'll probably be a bit stiff and sore for the next 2-3 days, but I do suspect that she will be fine, but we need to find out what the cause is. Unfortunately, we weren't able to take any blood or do any clinical evaluation, so we have to re-evaluate the drugs that we're going to use to immobilize her next time. So we probably have to use a different drug combination.
Lena was fortunate to have such an experienced team taking care of her. Her dental appointment would be rescheduled once blood samples have been taken and Dr. Caldwell is satisfied it's safe to anesthetize her again. After nearly 2 days traveling, the Bayamare lions have finally touched down in Johannesburg, South Africa.
Honestly, I was very stressed about their condition because they were really in very bad shape. And you know, all the transports and all these kind of activities are very stressful for them. And you never know if they make it.
The final leg of their journey is a 3-hour drive to Lions Rock. Most of the 90-odd big cats already at Lions Rock have made a similar trip, having been rescued from a European country. They're curious about the new arrivals. strange landscape, unfamiliar people. It's a totally alien environment. So it's no surprise Lydia is slow to leave the security of her travel crate. Today, the lions are being released into an adaptation enclosure. At 5,000 square meters, it dwarfs their former home. Once they're acclimatized, they will move into permanent enclosures with even more space to roam in.
I would say mission accomplished. It was very touching to see how every single animal reacted when the crate was open and they were confronted with their new life, with the grass, with the freedom of, open sky. The other lions that are around and they are looking curious at them, the sound of the other lions, and also the huge information that comes with such a place. I think we are not understanding 100% how much it's changing in an animal when from concrete, from a box, suddenly grass, first time after 15 years of your life.
Next time on Wild Animal Rescue, Four Paws returns to Gaza to rescue animals from what's been called the worst zoo in the world.
Atmosphere is bad, people are frustrated, there is no more worker.
But tensions in the region put the mission in jeopardy.